Jerry Sandusky is guilty of 45 out of 48 counts of child sex abuse and related charges. He will be going to prison for the rest of his life, unless by some miracle this appeals process goes in his favor, of which I see really nothing suggesting that's possible. His defense attorney was basically like, yeah, it took 2 days for the jury to come in on this. Everybody knew he was going to prison. He was ready to go there. So what are your takeaways?
Well, 2 days, 48 hours for 48 cases. Yeah, they didn't spend that long, and especially when you consider
that's true too, right?
Yeah, I mean, they was sort of bang, 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 bang. I think once you're guilty of one, you're sort of guilty of all of them because it's a pattern behavior thing. To me, the biggest takeaway was what we knew before the trial, which is that the university was covering up for Sandusky because they were trying to protect Joe Paterno's football program. And Jerry Sandusky was an integral part of that football program. And because they were trying to do that, because football is a cash cow for a lot of these universities, Jerry Sandusky was allowed to get away with this. I don't think it's going to trend into something like, we're going to see this rampant across college campuses. No, I think that
How could it be? I mean, these are people who work with other adults. Like the fact that you have this outside charity and are bringing these young teen boys in.
Yeah,
this seems like to be a very unique case that I can't imagine.
No, this is the classic isolated incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that this
to the point of this being in universities and such. The fact that I don't see this as a conspiracy. I don't necessarily. We haven't heard enough about the officials and things like that. This could be very well denial, and the evidence I see of denial is pretty clear with the wife who comes in has testimony that says, "No, I never saw him do anything. The only thing I ever saw was some boy was doing inappropriate things toward him," and I cannot think of any situation where a young boy in any camp job I've ever had, in any teaching capacity I've ever had, where a young boy had inappropriate sexual behavior toward me in any sort of a situation. Guess what? I never was taking showers with any of them and then saying I was taking showers with them. Like, this guy, his best defense was it was going to be narcissistic personality disorder. Was that the one they were going with?
Yeah, narcissistic personality. I mean, to me, it's just so bizarre. Like, I'm working in a summer camp right now. Rule number one is you're never alone with an individual child. So, I mean, there are sort of really clear rules when you work with children. I don't know, especially having been
and you know what? You do it to, at the very least, protect yourself from charges that are like exactly the sort of thing. Like, even if you've done nothing wrong, you are told when you work with kids, don't do things like this. I mean, so
keep the door open. There's security cameras in here primarily to protect me, because you don't. When you are alone with a child, that's not a good situation. That's not a thing that you want as, one child, one adult. That's just not
unless you are a convicted child rapist and your goal is to be alone with children, and then you go out of your way to be alone with them. Otherwise,
and he saw no
I know when I
this.
worked with kids, I would panic if I was ever in a situation where I was alone with anybody in that sort of a capacity, because I'm like, this isn't necessarily a good thing.
Now, I will say this, though, Ronnie. I think that the motives or the incentives for the college to be willfully ignorant are a little bit different than the wife's to be willfully ignorant. I agree. Yeah, I think that there's a profitability thing in that if it had gotten out in the open,
but on the other side of it, if these are people who've worked with the guy for years, see him as somebody who they trust and like, that's a very different thing.
Yeah. I mean, Paterno brought this to their attention, though. I mean, that was something that did come out during this trial, and they chose to ignore it. And, yeah, I think that you go with the devil you know. Maybe you go, this isn't a problem until it becomes a problem. That sort of, like, bureaucratic corruption, it's not – I don't think it's evil, like sinister. Let's keep a child rapist on our staff because he's bringing in the bacon. I think it's more of a, let's not rock the boat sort of thing.
Well, I mean, I don't know. And that hopefully is the sort of thing that Penn State will actually do some analysis of and figure that out. And hopefully this is an isolated incident to whatever extent. But I think it just goes to show that we do not deal well with victims, and we do not deal well. I mean, this is with anybody. You believe the best in the people that are around you.
I guess that's my big takeaway here is, like, What's being done for these victims, and what, if anything, does Sandusky owe the victims?
I mean, how does that work out? I think that
I
becomes,
don't know.
That's a civil case, isn't it? I mean, this
Right,
is criminal,
yeah, that
so
would be a civil
that has
case.
to be a different thing.
Yeah, that has to be a different
So
thing.
maybe there will be more that comes of this, where they will seek those sorts of damages. I mean, I don't think that's how do you get those sorts of damages in a thing like this. I mean,
I don't know.
So
Not a lawyer. Not a lawyer.
Yeah,
I'm a musician, Jim. Not a lawyer.
Yeah. All right. Well, for Dusky Sanjeri, very, very classy move, by the way. And myself, Ronnie Weiss, we are Don't Worry About the Government. You can find us at don'tworry.tv. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/DWATG. Anything else?
Everywhere I go, people are going to be giving me trouble about my name now.
Okay. Well, my advice to everybody out there, don't rape kids. And even if you're not going to rape kids, don't be alone with them if you're working with them, because somebody might accuse you of something. And be smart. So anybody who gets
and if
any
your
sort
name's
of
Dusky Sanjeri, don't work with children, because that's going to be a problem
that's
for you
you,
going
and
forward.
you do it anyway. So follow your
Right.
own advice. All right.
Yeah, that's true. I'll change my
Okay.
name.
Well,
Bye.
thanks for watching. Peace.